All right, everybody, welcome back. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well on this Tuesday. And on this Tuesday, we've got some more trade deadline stuff to talk about. We've got some more bad teams that might be looking to offload assets, might be looking to acquire draft picks, ready to give up on this season and think about future seasons. And our next bad team, well, they know how to be bad. Unfortunately, they have been bad for a while and have not shown signs of being able to get out of being bad. So yeah, the Cleveland Browns. They are usually part of this conversation during this part of the year. They are 2-6. They don't really have anything going at quarterback that anybody associated with that team is happy about. They have a good defense, but it gets wasted pretty much every single week. So yeah, they're thinking about next year. Let's take a look at the roster and see if there's anything worth trading for. Be right back. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today, get to it, and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, welcome back. So to be perfectly honest, there isn't that much that does anything for me here. Um, like if you wanted to talk about guys the Browns might be happy to offload, maybe Jerry Jeudy, but I don't want to trade for Jerry Jeudy. I think the contract is relatively untradeable as well. I don't know why that would be worth it for you or anybody. I know that Judy's got a lot of talent. I don't see anything there. David Njoku to a different team, sure, but Njoku, like, what's he going to do in Seattle? We already have a little bit of a tight end logjam. We can barely get enough snaps for Arroyo, so I don't know what adding another tight end is going to do to this. So really, there are only three guys here that I think are worth a discussion. So let's dive in here. Let's try to figure this out and understand that they don't have a lot to offer here. So the first guy is Wyatt Teller, and I don't need to explain to anybody why this one could be problematic. But if we're just talking about football, if we're just talking about going between the lines here, helping us win, yeah, Wyatt Teller as a right guard is better than what we have. He's 30 years old, so age is becoming a little bit of a concern. He's been a little above average overall this year on PFF, was about the same the previous year. He's been in this league a long time, put a lot of miles on, and he is coming to the end of a pretty big contract that he signed with the Browns several years ago, 57 million almost. There's a lot of void years left on this deal, but of course, I mean, Cleveland's going to be paying that no matter what, right? Those are void years. You can't get out of that. So it's not like that's going to make any real difference to the Browns. They're on the hook for that regardless. Now, the issue is almost all of his 2025 salary was in bonus. His base has been taken down to the minimum, 1.255. So Cleveland is saving not that much money here. I mean, you're getting roster bonuses off, so you are saving a few million more. Luckily for us and luckily for the Browns, they are saving something because he does have roster bonuses, but the Browns are still going to end up paying him a significant majority of his 2025 cap hit. And then, of course, they're on the hook for all the void stuff. Again, that doesn't really matter for our purposes because that's true no matter what. But it is one of those things where I guess you could probably finagle something here, but it's very possible a team like Cleveland just goes, you know what, we don't really care. We're just going to keep him because whatever. It's more trouble than it's worth to move him when we're only going to be saving, a few $1,000,000, and we're going to we know we're going to owe him all this dead money no matter what. We can't take away the void years, right? It's not like we can say, hey, we volunteer to take on these void year hits. Those are signing bonus adjacent cap hits. But it's not like he's helping that team win. It's not like he's helping that team get to where they want to go to, and it's the last year of his deal. So maybe if you came calling and offered like a 6th-round pick, they might actually bite. Like, I don't know why you would need to give up more than that. This guy's 31. He's past his prime. He's got 10 games left on his current contract, and at least they save a little bit. So this might be something that you can pull off for surprisingly cheap. Like, look at what the Rams were just able to do for Roger McCreary. Maybe you could do something somewhat similar with this one. Now, again, there are issues beyond football here. Wyatt Teller is the player who injured Uchenna Nwosu in the preseason last year on a almost certainly dirty hit. It's quite possible that bringing him into the locker room after having done something like that will bring about problems. And Uchenna Nwosu's playing good for this team right now. I certainly don't want to rock the boat, but that's something that you need to talk about with Uchenna Nwosu. Like, only he can really know what he wants there. So, yeah, that's a lot of words to say. There's some stuff getting in the way of this, but other than that, this is not bad. This is not too bad of a potential setup. Pretty much all the pieces you would want are in place otherwise. Now we have one other offensive lineman here, and it's somebody the Browns just signed, but they signed him to a 1-year cheap deal, Devin Jenkins. Now, Devin Jenkins, follow me through here. I did some research before this video, and to my surprise, I discovered that Devin Jenkins actually played right guard early in his career. Back in 2023, 2022, 2021, he was actually a right guard. I didn't know that. I thought he was a left guard his whole career. If he was a left guard his whole career, I wouldn't be talking about him. That's why I'm not talking about Joel Bitonio. I know some people are going to say, what about Joel Bitonio? Bitonio's only ever really played on the left side. I think he has like 2 career snaps on the right side in his life. So I wouldn't talk about him, but Devin Jenkins has played right guard before substantially, and he was graded very well when he did. You go back to 2023, he was graded as a top 12 guard in the sport. He was a top 3 guard according to PFF the previous year, 2022. So there is reason to believe he can be a good right guard in this league. He's 27 years old. The Browns gave him, a 1-year, $3 million deal. Now, they did pack a lot of that into void years, but again, it's not like the void years can be dealt with any way. You're still going to have to eat it. So it doesn't really matter that much. You're still gonna have to deal with that those future void year cap hits. So therefore, why not trade him and save the base that you're going to pay him? You obviously you still owe him the signing bonus, and you're going to owe him some game checks, but you can get out of a decent chunk of money here, probably a little more than $1 million, for a player that you're not using. By the way, Devin Jenkins has not played more than 10 snaps this year for the Browns. So it's not like they're getting anything out of having him around. So therefore, why not go get, again, you're probably looking at like a 6th-round pick here. This is not a high-valued player at this moment, especially with only 10 games left on his contract. But there it is. I think there could be something here. Like, there's no reason why they should be attached to him. Like, I could see maybe the Browns are attached to Wyatt Teller because he's been there for a while and he's been a really good player for them, but Devin Jenkins has played like 7 snaps as a Brown, I think. Very, very little playing time. And while the savings are not big, it's not like the dead money is big either. So, yeah, I think there's something here. Unfortunately, there's really only one other player that I think we can talk about. By the way, Myles Garrett is off limits. I'm not going to talk about Myles Garrett in this video because he is the definition of untradeable with his contract. So we're not going to get into that. But I will briefly talk about Denzel Ward, even though there's a similar problem, because this one is actually on some level doable. The Browns do have some cap space they're sitting on. they could make a trade and take on dead cap to get off Denzel Ward. Now, there's a lot of issues here. Denzel Ward is not the player that he used to be, I don't think. He's about to, well, not about to, but he's 28 now. And 28 is not that big of a deal. Like, 28 is fine, but this guy's had a lot of concussions in his career. Like, he's probably older than his actual on paper age. Like, I think we have to be a little bit cautious with this one. I definitely think that you could end up buying in on a player that has very little left to give. And I certainly don't want any part of that. Seems like he's still good. It seems like he can still play. I just really look for guys like this, cornerbacks, to lose it very fast and lose it very profoundly. Now, the contract, you jump over here, they gave him a $100 million contract several years ago. He is starting to get to the end of it. There is still a pretty substantial amount of dead money that the Browns would have to deal with if they were to move off of him. Because look at all this money they have tied up in bonuses. They also have the couple of void years at the end here. Not that that really affects us. But there is quite a bit that Cleveland would have to eat. Technically speaking, there are some minor savings here. But what would it take for you to actually pry Denzel Ward away? I imagine you're pushing up into, like, because he is still a good player, I imagine you're looking for at least a 4th round pick, maybe more. And there's no way I'm doing that. It's too murky. I mean, next year his base salary kicks up to almost 17 million, and the year after that it's more. He's got some roster bonus stuff. You're going to owe him a lot of money if you trade for him and keep him through 2026, 2027. And I don't know if I want to do that with a player that's just going to be getting older and is going to continue to be one concussion away from maybe having his career done. So this one, I'm not really feeling. It's not quite as egregious as the Myles Garrett thing because the contract is at least somewhat tradable, but I still don't think Cleveland would want to be doing this. I think in order to convince Cleveland to do this, you'd have to give up, like I said, more than a 4th round pick, and I'm just not looking to do that. I'm not interested in doing that for a player who I know is good, but it feels so delicate here. He's at the age and he's accrued the concussion injuries to where I feel like it could get away from him in the blink of an eye. And that's really it. I don't think there's anything else on this Browns team that's really worth talking about. Like, they just traded for Tyson Campbell. I don't think they're going to turn around and flip him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's something that's going to happen. I don't want a safety. They don't really have a linebacker. Unless they know that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, or JOK, is going to come back soon. Maybe then you could convince them of something, but to my knowledge, JOK could be missing a lot of football, like, for the rest of his life, and it wouldn't be that surprising at this point. And again, I don't want Jerry Jeudy. Njoku doesn't make any sense. So that's really it. I know it's just 3 players, but that's the best I could do here. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you guys think I missed something here, but I think that Wyatt Teller, Kevin Jenkins, and Denzel Ward, that's as far as it goes. Maybe Ethan Posick, but we're kind of at the point now where I don't know if Posick is radically better for you than what you have. Like, there was a time where Posick was a really good center in this league, but it's been a minute, and I don't know if that's the case anymore. All right, I will be seeing you guys later today. Go Hawks. More stuff coming soon. We got a few more bad teams to talk about. We got some more trade considerations. That's what this week is going to be mostly about. And, yeah, we're just going to keep going through these bad teams until we find solutions and hope that the team is able to make those solutions happen. All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks. See you soon.